More than 100,000 jobs gone in one of the richest places on Earth. Sound impossible, right? But what if the economy everyone thought was unstoppable is quietly starting to crack? From Silicon Valley giants to everyday workers, layoffs are hitting hard, and the shockwaves are spreading faster than anyone expected. But here's the real question. Is this just a temporary slowdown, or the beginning of something much bigger? Behind these numbers lies a story of shifting power, hidden risks, and economic pressure building up for years. And most people still don't see it coming. In this video, we're uncovering the 10 real reasons behind this sudden collapse and what it means for your future. Because this isn't just about California, it could be a warning sign for what's coming next. Number 1. Big tech overhiring bubble burst. Just a few years ago, tech companies in California were hiring at a crazy pace. During the pandemic, demand for digital services exploded. Apps, streaming, online shopping, remote tools, you name it. Companies believed this growth would continue forever, so they went on a massive hiring spree, bringing in thousands of employees within months. It felt like the golden era of tech jobs. High salaries, endless perks, and unlimited opportunities. But here's the problem. That growth wasn't sustainable. As the world returned to normal, people started spending less time online and more time outside. Suddenly, the demand that companies had predicted just wasn't there anymore. And now, those same companies are stuck with more employees than they actually need. To cut costs and protect profits, layoffs became the fastest solution. This is what experts call a correction phase. The industry is simply trying to fix the overestimation of growth. But for workers, it's not just a correction, it's a life-changing shock. And here's something most people don't realize. Even the biggest, most secure companies are not immune. Job stability today depends less on the company name and more on your adaptability and skills. If there's one lesson here, it's this: relying on a single industry, even one as powerful as tech, can be risky. So ask yourself, if your industry suddenly slowed down tomorrow, would you be ready? Number 2, rising interest rates crushing growth. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough: interest rates. They might sound boring, but right now, they're one of the biggest forces shaking California's economy. When interest rates were low, money was cheap and easy to borrow. Companies, especially startups, could take huge loans, expand quickly, hire aggressively, and focus on growth instead of profits. But everything changed when rates started rising. Suddenly, borrowing money became expensive. Investors became more cautious. Startups that once had millions flowing in now struggle to raise even basic funding. And when money dries up, companies are forced to make tough decisions, cut costs, freeze hiring, and yes, lay off employees. Even big tech companies felt the pressure. Higher interest rates mean lower valuations, tighter budgets, and more focus on efficiency over expansion. The grow-at-any-cost mindset has now flipped to survive at any cost. And this doesn't just affect businesses. It hits everyday people too. Loans, credit cards, mortgages, everything becomes more expensive. People start spending less, which slows down the economy even further. It's like a chain reaction that quietly spreads across industries. Here's the key takeaway. When interest rates rise, the entire system slows down. Growth becomes harder, risks become higher, and only the strongest, most adaptable companies survive. So think about this. If money becomes harder to access, how would that impact your career, your business, or your future plans? Be honest. Did you ever think interest rates could have this kind of impact? Drop your thoughts below. I'm genuinely curious to hear your perspective. And if you appreciate the effort behind breaking this down, simply hit subscribe. It's just one click, but it keeps videos like this coming. Number 3, remote work is quietly draining local economies. At first, remote work felt like a dream come true. No commuting, more flexibility, and the freedom to work from anywhere. Millions of employees embraced this shift, and companies quickly adapted. But beneath this convenience, something unexpected started happening. Entire local economies began to slow down. Think about it. When people stop going to offices, they also stop spending money around them. coffee shops, small restaurants, public transport, retail stores. All of these businesses depend heavily on daily office crowds. Without that steady flow of workers, many of these places saw a sharp drop in revenue, forcing them to cut staff or shut down completely. And it doesn't stop there. Empty office buildings mean lower demand for commercial real estate. Cities lose tax revenue. Public services get affected. It creates a domino effect that spreads far beyond just one industry. What started as a workplace shift has now become an economic ripple impacting thousands of jobs. Even big companies are rethinking their strategies. Some are calling employees back, not just for productivity, but to revive the ecosystems built around office life. Here's the surprising truth. While remote work benefits individuals, it can weaken the economic backbone of entire cities if not balanced properly. So ask yourself, is remote work the future, or is it quietly reshaping economies in ways we didn't expect? Number 4. Businesses are leaving California. Here's a trend that's been building quietly, but now it's impossible to ignore. Companies are packing up and leaving California. And they're not just small businesses. Even major corporations are relocating operations to states like Texas, Florida, and Nevada. The reason? A combination of high taxes, strict regulations, and rising operational costs. Running a business in California has become increasingly expensive. From corporate taxes to compliance rules, companies are facing more pressure than ever. Add to that the high cost of real estate, utilities, and labor, and suddenly, staying competitive becomes a real challenge. For many businesses, relocating isn't just an option, it's a survival strategy. But when companies leave, they don't go alone. They take jobs, investments, and economic activity with them. Entire communities feel the impact. Local employment drops, small supporting businesses struggle, and the economic balance starts to shift. It's like pulling one piece out of system and watching everything else begin to shake. What makes this even more serious is the speed at which it's happening. With remote work and digital infrastructure, companies can now move faster and easier than ever before. Loyalty to location is fading, and decisions are being driven purely by cost and efficiency. Here's the bottom line. Businesses go where they can grow, save, and scale. And right now, for many, that place is no longer California. So think about this. If even the biggest companies are choosing to leave, what does that say about the future of the state's economy? If you were running a company, would you stay or leave, and why? Drop your answer below. I'd love to hear your take. And if you appreciate the effort behind these videos, hit subscribe. It's just one click, but it makes a huge difference for us. Number 5. Inflation is silently killing consumer spending. Here's something most people are feeling every single day, but not fully connecting to layoffs: inflation. Prices for almost everything have gone up: groceries, gas, rent, utilities, and it's happening so gradually that many don't realize how deeply it's affecting the economy. But behind the scenes, inflation is quietly slowing everything down. When everyday costs rise, people naturally start to spend less. That extra coffee? Skipped. Online shopping? Reduced. Eating out? Maybe once a week instead of 3 times. These small changes might seem harmless individually, but when millions of people do the same thing, businesses start noticing a serious drop in revenue. And when companies earn less, they have to adjust quickly. They cut budgets, pause expansion plans, and eventually reduce their workforce. That's how inflation, something that seems like a personal financial issue, turns into a mass layoff trigger across industries. What makes this even more dangerous is the psychological impact. When people feel uncertain about the future, they become even more cautious with spending. This creates a cycle. Less spending leads to lower business income, which leads to layoffs, which then leads to even less spending. It's a ripple effect that spreads quietly but powerfully. The key takeaway? Inflation doesn't just make life expensive, it can reshape the entire economic flow. And the longer it stays high, the deeper the impact becomes. So ask yourself, have you changed your spending habits recently without even realizing it? Number 6. Automation and AI are replacing jobs faster than expected. This might be the most uncomfortable truth on this list. Jobs aren't just disappearing because of the economy. Some are being replaced entirely. The rise of automation and AI is accelerating faster than most people expected, and it's already reshaping the job market in ways we're only beginning to understand. In the past, automation mainly affected factory work. Machines replaced repetitive physical tasks, and that made sense. But now, AI is stepping into areas that once felt untouchable: customer service, data analysis, content creation, even basic decision-making roles. Tasks that used to require entire teams can now be handled by a single system in a fraction of the time. For companies, this is a huge advantage. AI doesn't need breaks, salaries, or benefits. It works 24/7, reduces costs, and increases efficiency. So when businesses are under financial pressure, like they are now, the shift toward automation becomes even faster. Instead of hiring more employees, companies are investing in technology that can do more with less. But here's the deeper impact. It's not just about losing jobs, it's about changing the type of jobs that exist. Roles that involve routine tasks are becoming vulnerable, while jobs that require creativity, strategy, and emotional intelligence are becoming more valuable. This creates a clear divide: those who adapt and upgrade their skills, and those who risk being left behind. The takeaway is simple but powerful. AI isn't the future, it's already here. And understanding how to work with it, not against it, might be one of the most important decisions you make. So think about this. If AI can do parts of your job today, what will it be able to do tomorrow? Do you see AI as an opportunity or a threat? Drop your honest opinion below. I read every single comment. And if you respect the effort behind this content, hit subscribe. Just one click helps us keep delivering value like this. Number 7. Startup funding is drying up fast. Not long ago, startups in California were living in what felt like a gold rush. Venture capital firms were pouring billions into new ideas, often with little concern for profits. As long as a company showed rapid growth, investors were ready to fund it. This created a culture where startups focused on scaling fast, hiring aggressively, and expanding without limits. But that era is fading quickly. Today, investors are becoming far more cautious. With economic uncertainty and rising interest rates, the flow of easy money has slowed down. Venture capital firms now want to see something they didn't care much about before: real profitability. And many startups simply aren't ready for that shift. The result? Funding rounds are shrinking, delayed, or disappearing altogether. Without fresh investment, startups are forced to make tough decisions. They cut costs, pause expansion, and most importantly, lay off employees to survive. Some companies even shut down completely, unable to sustain operations without continuous funding. What makes this situation more intense is how dependent the startup ecosystem has been on constant cash flow. When that flow stops, the entire system begins to tighten and contract. It's like a balloon slowly losing air. Everything starts shrinking. Here's the key insight. The startup world is moving from a phase of growth at any cost to one of survival through discipline. Only the most efficient and well-managed companies will make it through. So ask yourself, if easy money disappears, which businesses and careers will actually stand the test of time? Number 8. Retail and e-commerce are slowing down after the boom. During the pandemic, retail, especially e-commerce, experienced explosive growth. People were stuck at home, so online shopping became the default way of living. Businesses expanded rapidly. Warehouses scaled up, delivery networks exploded, and companies hired thousands of workers to keep up with demand. It felt like this trend would only go up forever. But reality hit, and it hit hard. As life returned to normal, people started going back to physical stores, traveling, and spending less time online. That massive surge in online shopping, it began to level out, and in some areas, even decline. Companies that had expanded too quickly suddenly found themselves overstaffed and overstocked. And when supply is high but demand drops, something has to give. Retailers began cutting back, reducing inventory, closing warehouses, and laying off workers. Even major e-commerce giants had to rethink their strategies, focusing less on expansion and more on efficiency and cost control. There's also another layer to this: market saturation. With so many online businesses entering the space during the boom, competition became intense. Standing out is now harder than ever, and only the most adaptable brands are surviving. The key takeaway? Trends can rise fast, but they can cool down just as quickly. Businesses that don't adjust in time often face the consequences. So think about this. If a booming industry like e-commerce can slow down so suddenly, how stable is any trend we rely on today? Have you noticed yourself shopping online less lately? Be honest. Drop your answer below. I'm curious to see the shift. And if you appreciate the effort behind these insights, hit subscribe. Just one click helps us keep creating videos like this. Number 9. Global economic uncertainty is hitting hard. Here's something many people overlook. California's economy isn't just local. It's deeply connected to the entire world. From tech exports to international trade, what happens globally has a direct impact on jobs and businesses in the state. And right now, the global economy is facing serious uncertainty. We're talking about ongoing conflicts, disrupted supply chains, fluctuating currencies, and slowing growth in major economies. When large markets like Europe or Asia slow down, demand for products and services drops. And since many California-based companies rely on global customers, this creates immediate financial pressure. The impact spreads quickly. Companies see declining international revenue, investors become cautious, and businesses start preparing for instability. This often leads to budget cuts, hiring freezes, and layoffs. Not because the company is failing, but because the world around it is becoming unpredictable. What makes this even more complex is how interconnected everything has become. A delay in one part of the world can disrupt production in another. A financial crisis in one country can shake investor confidence everywhere. It's like a web. Pull one thread, and the entire system vibrates. For workers, this means job security is no longer just about local conditions. It's influenced by events happening thousands of miles away. The key takeaway? We're living in a globally linked economy, where uncertainty anywhere can create consequences everywhere. So ask yourself, how prepared are you for changes that don't even start in your own country? Number 10. The cost of living crisis is pushing people out. This might be the most visible problem of all, and yet its impact runs deeper than most people realize. The cost of living in California has reached extreme levels. Housing, rent, groceries, utilities, transportation, everything is getting more expensive. For many people, it's no longer just difficult to live there. It's becoming unsustainable. When individuals struggle, the economy feels it too. Workers are starting to leave the state in search of more affordable places. Families are relocating, young professionals are reconsidering opportunities, and even high-income earners are questioning whether it's worth staying. This creates a slow but powerful shift, a shrinking workforce in key industries. And when businesses can't find or retain employees, they face serious challenges. Some are forced to increase wages, raising their costs even more. Others reduce operations or move entirely to cheaper locations. This creates a cycle where rising costs push people out, and fewer people make it harder for businesses to function, leading to economic imbalance. There's also a psychological factor. When people feel financially pressured, they spend less, take fewer risks, and become more cautious about their future. This slows down innovation, entrepreneurship, and overall economic growth. Here's the reality. An economy can't thrive if the people powering it can't afford to live within it. The key takeaway? The cost of living isn't just a personal issue. It's a structural challenge that can reshape entire regions. So think about this. If living costs keep rising, how long before more people and businesses decide to walk away? If you had the choice, would you stay in a high-cost city or move somewhere affordable? Drop your answer below. I'm really curious to know. And if you respect the effort behind this content, hit subscribe It's just one click, but it helps us keep creating videos like this. So when you step back and connect all the dots, a powerful picture starts to emerge. These layoffs aren't happening because of just one issue. They're the result of multiple forces colliding at once. From rising interest rates and shrinking startup funding to automation, global uncertainty, and the cost of living crisis, everything is pushing the system in a new direction. But here's the real twist. This may not be a complete collapse. It could be a massive transformation. Economies evolve, industries shift, and job markets change. What we're witnessing right now might be the end of one economic phase and the beginning of another. The question is not just what's happening, but who is ready for what comes next. Because in every disruption, there are always two groups: those who struggle to adapt and those who position themselves early and thrive. The world is clearly moving toward a future driven by technology, efficiency, and adaptability. Traditional paths are becoming less predictable, and stability is no longer guaranteed by big company names or popular industries. Instead, it's built on your ability to learn, adjust, and stay ahead of change. And that's where this becomes personal. No matter where you live, these shifts can eventually reach you. The smartest move right now is to stay informed, build valuable skills, and remain flexible in your thinking. Because the people who understand change early are the ones who benefit the most from it. So ask yourself honestly, are you prepared for the economy that's coming next, or still relying on the one that's slowly fading away?